Everyone, welcome to the third episode of the Not on Records podcast. And today, what we're going to be talking about is continuing a little bit off about environmental ag issues, and we're going to be focusing about climate change. And we're just really going to stick to that and not go anything else because I really want to spend some time talking about this. I'm really passionate more about this rather than the other thing. So let's get started. Infographic shown right in front of you today titled Climate Change is explaining a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today. It's mostly talking about how is it happening and why is it happening. So let me explain. How do we know it's happening? Recent studies by NASA have shown that countless numbers of evidence on why climate change is real. Some of these events may include, but not limited to, global temperature rising, shrinking ice sheets, and rising sea levels. Climate change is happening for multiple reasons, but in particular one reason: greenhouse gases. Some greenhouse gases that are in our air are carbon dioxide, water vapor, methane, and nitrous oxide. Some of the huge causes that carbon dioxide is being produced is the increased burning of fossil fuels and deforestation, as we were talking about in the previous episode. So this also correlates back to deforestation and a lot of the other things we talked about in the last episode. Top right and bottom right corners, you can see that there are two images. These images represent air temperature and sea level all around the world. You can find more about it on NASA if you Google climate change, and it should be the first link there. Change effects. So we're going to talk about in this slide about rising temperature and change in weather. Those to me are the two biggest things that climate change is going to affect in the future. Rising temperatures. Global warming is also a huge part in rising temperatures. What global warming does is that it traps and collects greenhouse gases such as CO2 and water vapor in the air, causing those gases to absorb the radiation from the sun, causing it to be hotter and resulting in higher temperatures. Ever since the 1900s, U.S. precipitation patterns have changed all over the U.S. Some areas in the U.S. have fluctuated on the precipitation levels, both going up and down. There are scenarios where NASA has predicted that in some areas in the north, where winter and spring precipitation levels will be greater, and in the southwest, where it will be less. However, NASA also predicts that precipitation levels can and will possibly increase later in the future and go farther than the north and possibly in the southwest. Adaptation will be important if this happens. Finally, what are the solutions? Electric cars are a possible solution, also known as Teslas. Electric cars also have less greenhouse gas emissions, which would be better for the environment. Buying less. Buying what you need and not want will be better because of the fossil fuels that are being used to ship and produce will be cut back on. Stop the deforestation. Refer back to the previous episode. Move closer to workspace. Moving closer to where one will work will make a huge difference in how fossil fuels will be used. This decision is a decision for the long run, one that everyone should consider when thinking about their distance to travel to work and the climate.